Hey Cruiser, welcome back to Cruising Chris Craft. I'm Josh Wells, and today my son Sam is going to help me work on the swim platform for good old Stargazer. If you like DIY boat repairs, no fin will make me happier than if you liked and subscribed down below.
We are redoing the entire platform today. It is absolutely a job and a half. It's going to take us 3 or 4 episodes to do this.
Which is why we're going to start with our first round of platform sanding before we whip up a batch of epoxy and fill some holes. All right, let's get started.
So do you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Why are there so many holes in it?
We're going to fill all those.
Since we have 2 projects this week to cover, we're going to go ahead and split that in half. Ah, that's better. For the sanding part of today's video, Sam and I are using a rasp, straight head chisel, 60 grade sandpaper, and a small flat surface to collect sawdust. We're just going to use an old cardboard box. To plug the holes, we're going to need a drill, wax paper, painter's tape, mixing cups, piping bags, epoxy resin, hardener, wood flour, and the sawdust. This is the original swim platform from our boat. So there's a good 40 years of grime and gunk built up on this thing that we need to scrape right past. We've got our work cut out for us today, Cruiser, but at least we've got good company. Sam's using a rasp here. The rasp is flat on one side and rounded on the other. We're trying not to round out the edges, but we're using it as a file. It actually works really well. I'm using a standard straight head chisel. It's very sharp. Be very careful. And all I'm doing is taking off all the old paint and varnish that's on there. So I'm using it more as a scraper than a full chisel. One of the best things about doing these projects is getting to work with Sam. This is his first time really using a lot of these tools, but he's really rising to the challenge and putting his best foot forward. I gotta say, he learns how to use these tools pretty quickly. He's a lot like an octopus that way.
Hold it like this so that you can push pressure evenly.
But it's not just about the tools or the teachable moments. Working together like this gives us something else we don't always get enough of: time. Since we're both focused on the project and our hands are busy, we don't get distracted with our phones or the TV or any of that. It just gives us a chance to talk to each other and share. I wouldn't give those moments up for anything.
How come we got this boat instead of a
newer one?
a better one?
Well, Daddy really likes this boat. So Chris Craft is a company. You're familiar with Chris Craft, the company?
Yeah.
They took that hull, which was copyrighted, not to be used by any other company. Chris Craft, the company, got in trouble for using that hull. You know how sometimes people plagiarize at school other people's work? That's what Chris Craft got in trouble for. And so then they came up with another hull that was really close to it, but just enough that they didn't get sued. But they had to put a different top on it. Our boat. Daddy really likes a story, right?
Mhm.
And this boat has a story. It's not brand new, but it was trying to save a company.
Can we put some good fishing stuff on it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're always having a blast working together and talking about Stargazer, but you have to be careful. Make sure that you're always paying attention when you're working with tools like this.
You okay? What happened?
Pinch myself. Right there.
Here. Feel a little better? No blood, no armor.
So a quick tip for sanding. If you're pulling instead of pushing, it'll take less energy. I know this sounds obvious when you hear it, but when you're sanding something like this over and over again, stand on the side of it that'll let you pull, not push. You'll thank me later. To fill these holes in the platform, we're going to need to blend together a resin epoxy, a glue, a hardener, and a binder. When we mix it together though, we want to match the color of the rest of the wood as close as we can get it. So we're going to mix in some sawdust as our binder. There's a ton of sawdust everywhere. Bless you. Bless you. There's a ton in the air. I'll tell you, it's crazy bad. This way we won't need bungs or dowels or anything. the color of the epoxy will match the rest of the platform, which is very exciting. I'm telling you, a little bit of forethought on what you're trying to get done will help a project out immensely. You don't have to think through every little detail, but if you're gonna fill holes and you have to match the color, just sand the color out and find some way to catch that sawdust. You can really see a big difference in the wood. I think Sam and I did a pretty good job of getting the bulk of the old varnish off, especially being our first pass at it. Pretty sure we figured out why the swim platform was so dried out and rotted too. It actually had been coated with just a deck paint, you know, like a household deck paint. So it was never designed to hold up against salt water. It was just never designed for that. No doubt about it, we'll be sanding this bad boy a few more times. But now, it's time to plug some holes. Before we plug these holes, we're gonna drill them to clean them out. Just use a drill bit that's just a little bigger than the hole already is. Go straight up and down, knocking out any old bungs, wood filler, well, you name it, it's in there. They used to fill these holes with anything they could. We're doing this and old toothpicks are coming out, all kinds of stuff. Don't be afraid to go through every hole. When you do that and get down the real wood, it's going to bond really, really well. Okay, Cruiser, Sammy's gonna explain the next part, but don't worry, I'm putting you in good hands.
So what you do is you rip a piece of wax paper, just out of any like wax paper blocks. Then you put it over the holes. But I don't need that big of a piece, so I'll just use that one. Then you get your tape. Or what you do is you tape it down. There. So now we're going to these two right here. And then again, you get a big old piece of tape, put it right on your wax paper. Sometimes it gets stuck to the tape. Like this one's giving me a hard time. But I got it. And then double tape it. I'll get that big. You double tape it to make sure that it stays.
Nice work.
The reason that I don't want to tape one giant one over it is so that when I'm putting the blue masking tape down, it sticks all the way around, so it gives a good seal rather than having a seal that might not be super, super tight. Because if it's loose, I won't have the full coverage on the actual holes. So we made a test model because I wanted to see how it felt, and I wanted to see how many air pockets it got in it. We filled these. This is the backside. This is the wax paper. So if you can see how shiny that is and smooth, that's from the wax paper. This is not as smooth and actually didn't fill as well because it didn't cover the cracks into the wood, and that's just plain tape. So we use wax paper so it's spread out better. It's actually really, really good. On the top side, and that's why it's on the bottom of the deck, it's cratered. So it didn't do it. So we'll just have 2 layers on this side before we seal it up for the season. We cut it in half so that you could see it. It penetrated into the wood. It was absolutely amazing. But if you can see here, there's air pockets that formed. So we're going to be careful of trying to do that. That's why we've decided that we're going to try and use piping bags to get it into the holes better.
We're finally ready to whip up some epoxy. 3 pumps of resin, 3 pumps of hardener, and just mix these two together.
So you don't want to inhale this stuff. It's really bad for you. You just want to get it in here. It takes quite a bit. And then what you're looking for is a really kind of peanut buttery look. Fold it in. It'll start to absorb. While we're mixing it, we're trying to get to a pretty thick consistency because I don't want it to run out because we only put that stuff in loosely. So I want it a little bit thicker. This is closer to, well, a ketchup maybe. We want it to be a little bit thicker than this, but not quite sticking like peanut butter. We have plenty of work time on this. We probably have 45 minutes, maybe an hour on the work time on this.
Wait, so what do you mean by work time?
So how long I have until I need to put it in the hole?
Oh. I think you're going to need more epoxy than this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna need quite a bit more. So then just turn it. Just squeeze out some of the air. Turn it so that it becomes a snow cone. And then we're just gonna nip off just a little bit. We want a tiny, tiny little bit.
Cake frosting.
Like cake frosting.
This is just much better.
Much better. When you're filling holes, you want to make sure that your piping bag goes all the way in. You want your peanut butter to be thick so that it doesn't run out, but you don't want it to be so thick that it doesn't run. You want to make sure that you have good consistency. Thanks for joining us today, Cruiser. We love you. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below to keep up with our latest DIY projects. Until next time, I'm Josh Wells, and remember, Thomas Jefferson once said, boat repair is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. Well, or something like that. See you soon, Cruiser!